Hello, ladies. We are on. Okay, ASHA, the questions come up. You are going to be competing this year, right?
I am not. I am taking the year off.
Why?
Had some health stuff come up. I needed a break and I had some health stuff come up. So I'm really focusing on that. And then hopefully I will be well enough to, do stuff in the future,
Sure.
but not this year.
So we were just talking about, well, on another episode, we were talking about athletes and in my opinion, I don't want to say weak lineups to make it sound, I don't want to sound harsh, but I'm curious to know your thoughts. I've asked Chelsea this already, but I want to know, do you feel like the current lineups at these shows we're seeing are weak? Like the caliber is just not as, as prestige as what it used to be?
I was thinking about that earlier when I was looking through the New York Pro lineups, and I think New York Pro, I think they brought it. So it's still early in the season, I guess you could say, although things are kind of, rolling now. But I think it really depends on the show. Some shows really bring out the athletes and people bring their A++ game, and then other shows, it's not really, top tier conditioning or top tier athletes. But overall, I think, at the pro level, everybody looks good.
Yeah.
So this year, hopefully we see, we continue to see better and better quality athletes, but I think they're kind of bringing it this year.
I think I like the fact that we have more numbers. Like the Vancouver show, we had more numbers. Well, last year, I think it was 2 girls or 3 girls, something like that. This year was 8.
Yeah.
I think, what was it, 8 in the New York Pro that just passed. So yeah, we're improving. So that's good. Chelsea, I want to talk to you about diet, real quick. What do you, for you, when you get in your condition? I know you like to, you eat, you try to make fun foods and things like that. Is that hard for you? I mean, you get in condition pretty good. I mean, what is you're not very strict on your diet, then I'm assuming, right? Because you come in sharp.
So it's actually, this was the first time I've ever been shredded. So in my head, I'm like, was this last year a fluke? Like, because it was so easy. It was very easy for me to do that. And I've always struggled with getting lean, but I also think it's because I finally kind of like locked it down and was focused for more days consistently without messing up. Because my issue would always be like kind of binge eating, not necessarily like crazy binge eating,
Sure.
but like eating I couldn't stop eating rice sometimes. So with this last year, I really just think it came down to me being more consistent and sticking to the plan more. With my foods, like I eat the same meal every single day, but I make it as enjoyable as I can. I smoke a little weed before, so it makes me a little hungry, makes me enjoy my meal better. So we'll see, this year as I start to get ready. Hopefully I still can bring that conditioning, maybe better.
Asha, what do you think of, like, because you also come in great shape when you get lean. I mean, are you the same way? Are you very strict on your diet, or you kind of have a little bit of fun, or?
I'm pretty strict. I feel like when I try to have fun, I did that one year and I almost felt like I didn't bring the same package or the same physique because I was, trying to be more flexible with my vegetables or my carbs and things like that. I mean, I really don't think it makes a big difference, but mentally, for me at least, I have to keep it pretty strict and, monotonous almost to, not kind of mess up. I can't go and make it fun like Chelsea said. It
Right.
stays pretty not fun.
Now,
Can you guys see me real quick? Can you see me? You guys disappeared from my screen, so.
I see you.
Okay, I might exit out real quick and then jump back in. Is that okay?
No worries.
BRB. Wait, you guys are, oh my gosh, this is so confusing. You're still up and
Can you not see us?
No, you got like, I just tapped my finger on my mouse pad
So
and
you probably changed the, like you can have all squares at once, or you can just have one square or the person that's talking and it switches.
Yeah, I have all my web browsers closed and you guys are still talking.
Oh boy.
Whatever. I
I
don't need to
see you. You
It's
look
fine.
fabulous.
Okay.
All right, so I was asking ASHA this earlier, talking about relationships and stuff. So I got to put this out there. Are female bodybuilders freaks in the sheets?
I would say yes. I think I can speak for, but asterisk, I think it depends on maybe
Yes.
how we're feeling or, you know, where we are in prep.
Yeah.
The time of day, because I know at 8 o'clock, there's nothing happening after then.
Okay. Chelsea, what do you think?
I agree with Asha. It really like depends on what part of the prep you're in. Because the moment I lay down in bed or the moment I lay on the couch, I'm done. But I definitely do think we are freaks.
Okay. All right. What do you think female bodybuilders look for in a guy? Do they want a muscular guy, or doesn't matter?
I don't think, well, for me, I need someone muscular just because like, I do care, but I also really need someone who is supportive of my lifestyle, someone who lives basically the same type of lifestyle. So with that comes usually someone who's in good shape.
Sure. Asha?
Yeah, I totally agree. Obviously, physique or, you know, appearance is something that you see first in an individual. So, besides that, personality, you know, being a supportive partner, that all kind of trumps what the person looks like. But like Chelsea said, usually when you prioritize those types of things in your life, your physique kind of follows suit. So, you know, it doesn't have to be another IFBB pro competitor,
Sure.
but somebody that does, you know, work out or exercise.
So the reason why I wanted to have both you girls on is because you both have really good relationships, and you know, you can tell like your significant others really, I mean, you're like their queen, you know? So what is the secret? What's the secret to that strong bond that you guys have? And Asha, you know, you and your husband, Brad, I mean, you guys do live life. You have a lot of balance. Same with you, Chelsea. You got a lot of balance, you know, so how do you, what's the secret? What's the spice?
Asha, you first. I want to hear. I would like some advice.
I think there's a little luck in it, you know, lucking upon the right person. But when it comes to balance, I really believe that, you know, having your partner understand how important, especially as a competitor, competing is. Some people look at what we do as a hobby or something on the side, and it may be a side of our job, but it's still a job. I go to the gym and that's like my job. So having somebody that respects that in you, or respects that you treat working out or competing as a job are really important, really helps. You know, the other thing is you also being attentive to them and their needs. So I've fallen victim, and Brad will call me out when I'm doing it if I'm too hyper focused and, you know, I'm not giving him the attention that he needs or whatever he needs. You know, he'll try to let me know and I'll try to kind of rebalance. So, you know, communicating, having a partner that you can just talk with and tell things to is another thing that I think is really important.
Chelsea?
I agree with Asha. I also think it does come with like a little bit of luck. You know, with me and Matt, we can enjoy just like not doing anything together. And that's a very important thing when it comes to bodybuilding, because we're either in the gym cooking our food or we're just like trying to relax and do nothing. It is very difficult, and there's also a lot of understanding on both parts, because he understands that like when I'm very cold. Not necessarily cold, but I'm just a blank human because I have no emotions anymore. Like, sometimes it just takes him understanding, like, hey, babe, I love you. Like, as much as I want to have sex with you right now, like, I'm just not there. I'm not a human right now. So it just comes with like understanding that and knowing that when we are in prep, our brains are like totally different. And so when I was prepping, I'm just like, hey, babe, like, just know that you're going to be feeling this way too. So eventually, so I'm going to have to, like, be in your shoes, and I'm going to be like the understanding one and understand that, like, you don't want to do the dishes that you go through all day. I'll do them. I'll pick up the slack, so it just really comes down to like the understanding and realizing that each other has these goals and that you are partners. So you want to do anything to support your partner's goals.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And ladies, let me ask you something. When you started bodybuilding, being that you've both been competing for a while now, what would you tell yourself when how do I put this? What would you tell yourself back then when you started bodybuilding, knowing what you know now? What would be one bit of advice that you would give yourself before starting the lifting and the journey? Chelsea, I'll start with you.
Let's see. I would tell myself that nobody else's opinions matter, and that if I am going to go down this course, I need to realize that I'm doing it for me and nobody else. I think we get caught up in like a lot of other people's opinions, and bodybuilding isn't for everybody, and not everybody likes, the way that we look. And it does bring you a lot of attention and a lot of negative attention. And sometimes that's really hard to deal with. But at the end of the day, we're doing this because we love it, and we love enjoying looking the way we do. So I would just like remind myself, like, hey, there's going to be haters, but keep doing it because you love it, and also like, maybe learn how to diet a little bit sooner. And I would have been pro a lot sooner, I think.
Right. Asha, what do you think?
Yeah, I would tell myself to work harder in the off season, probably. I tended to, especially early on, really enjoy the off season and probably let myself go too much. But, hindsight's always 20/20, and you always have to learn from your past. But that would be the one thing I would tell myself is, keep it up a little.
Okay. What's that wrestling belt back there? What is that?
So that's a funny story, kind of. The first Rising Phoenix I did, I placed 6th, I think. And I didn't get a trophy. So trophy stopped at 5th place, but I was still on stage as top 6. So Brad felt that wasn't fair. So he had this made for me.
What a guy.
Sweet.
Oh my God.
And it's actually got the, I don't know if you can see it
that's
clear, the Wings of
great.
Strength logo on it.
That is so cool. They should do that instead.
And he's got 6th in the world on there.
Aw.
Some
That is
other
so cool.
some other mushy things.
Aw, that's sweet. That was nice.
Yeah.
How did he surprise you with that?
I think he got it for Christmas, that
And
following
you just
Christmas.
open it up and then boom, there's. And
Yeah.
what was your reaction? You start laughing, or you just like?
Yeah, I was laughing.
Well, let's talk
That's
about
so
that for a
cute.
second. So I have a big pet peeve.
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on trifecta.
And it happens at shows sometimes. But I don't like when somebody's on stage and they don't have a trophy, but everybody else does. I've seen like a top 3 all have awards, and then the last, the other 2, 4th and 5th, don't. Do you think that's appropriate? Chelsea, what do you think?
You know, honestly, like sometimes like trophies are just trophies, in my
True.
opinion.
Yeah.
It's more of like the placing, you know, like top four, top five, that's still amazing, especially in a stepped class. Um, because you know, trophies just come and go, you
So a
know.
trophy doesn't mean anything. That's what you're saying.
It doesn't. Yeah, not for me.
Okay.
I would honestly, especially if I had to fly somewhere and I didn't get a trophy, I'd be like, awesome. I don't have to shove anything in my
Oh, that's
suitcase.
true. Yeah. Right. And Ashley,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that?
I think, yeah, I kind of agree with Chelsea. I think your placing is definitely or should be more important to you. I think it is nice to get something, you know, if
Right.
it's a medal or whatever, if they
Yeah.
don't want to spend the money on 5 trophies or whatever.
Right.
It's nice to reward the athlete with, you know, something physical.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
At least a medal
Yeah.
would be like good.
So you guys like the medals?
Yeah.
Yeah, better than a like a regular trophy, statue, whatever, just because of traveling purposes.
Well, I think like the trophies are cool, but like usually for first place and stuff, you get like something different, the sword or
Hmm.
you know, a knife.
What would be a cool trophy for you guys, you think?
I would like a belt like that. That's
Right,
sick.
that is pretty sick. Yeah.
With a
yeah, that
crown.
would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
What do you think, Asha?
I think the belts are cool. I love trophies. When I have had to travel with trophies, it's always like you're walking through the airport and you're all proud and
Yeah.
then you got to
Right.
figure out where it goes on the plane. But I don't know, it's kind of that last, you know, feeling good about what you've done, your accomplishment thing. So, you know,
I'll tell you what I'd like to see either at the Rising Phoenix or at the Olympia for the Miss Olympia or any of the competitors actually in all the divisions is a Most Improved award or like an MVP award or, somebody who's made great changes. And for women, I'd like to see a People's Choice Award with the
That'd be
belt.
cool. Mhm.
Listen, it's not all about the guys, is it?
Exactly. No.
No. So, I mean, I think that would be something nice. And something else I want to throw at you guys, just because, again, you compete a lot. What do you think of a bump system? So if you don't know what a bump system is, it's pretty much where, say, someone who's already Olympia, say Andrea Shaw decides, well, you know what, I'm going to jump into Chicago. Why not? She's qualified for life. So let's say Chelsea jumps in, and now that kind of takes away her spot, right? So if Andrea comes in, she wins, it goes to the next person in line who's, next. So let's say Chelsea would be automatically qualified. Do you think something like that would be good to have in our current sport with some of these competitors who are already qualified for the Olympia to help others?
I do think that is a really good idea. I do kind of like the thought of there being more prestige and it being a little bit harder to get to the show or get to the Olympia, but we have like no shows and like almost half of them are out of the country this year.
Right.
So it leaves us kind of in like a tough situation. Like, are there going to be 10 girls on the Olympia stage this year?
Right.
So I feel like the bump system would be a good idea. But again, like I said, I do like kind of the prestige of
Sure.
it being harder if there were more shows for us to try to qualify at.
Mm-hmm. Asha, what do you think of the bump system?
I think it's a good idea to try out and see. It's really interesting, like the situation with Natalia this year in women's physique, and her winning all these shows. That would be a perfect situation for how that system to work. But I feel like she's using strategy there, so it would kind of mess up her strategy.
Well, listen, if you're Natalia, you look as good as she does. I mean, she can go into any show really and probably win.
Yeah, she has been.
Yeah, she's done it. So let me ask you this. You guys have obviously seen, from the New York Pro. What do you think of that second place girl? Emily Schubert.
She's got the lower body of a female bodybuilder.
Oh my God, yes.
But the upper body is just not quite there yet.
No. Would you guys like to see her come over to our side? Think she'd do well?
Definitely.
I think she would do well.
Yeah. I mean, this
I've
girl's
already commented
impressive.
on her stuff. I'm like, when are you coming up to female bodybuilding?
Yeah, she needs to. I think she would do very well. You know, she's got great. I couldn't believe her back shot the legs. There's
Yes,
no
that
fat.
is crazy.
Oh my
You
God.
put in some work for sure.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
has. And listen, do you find that women's bodybuilding? Do you think that we're extreme? Some people feel that we are an extreme sport. I don't think so anymore because it looks like the women have softened down a little bit. They're still in great condition, but they've, you know what I mean? Like they're not as grainy and dry and striated as they used to be. What are your thoughts on that, Asha?
I don't I like where we are now. I don't feel it's as extreme, like you said, as it was in the past. But when somebody asks that question, extreme compared to what? I mean, if you go in the grocery store and the average person, yeah, we're extreme. But compared to, bodybuilding a few years ago, I think we're in a good place. I think we look a lot healthier. We look a lot better. We look a lot more marketable, which is something
Yes.
that we need. So I think if we keep rolling how we are, it's going to be, really, good future for women's bodybuilding.
All right, I'm going to be a little weird. Chelsea likes to make some unique food stuff, so I'm going to ask you, Asha, because I know you deal with tons of different people's diets and stuff. What do you guys think of if I took protein, like a chicken breast in a blender with water and my rice, like my whole meal, I just dump it in there? I'm thinking of doing this for a skit.
Oh,
Dumping it in there, maybe some tuna fish, whatever, blending it all up and drinking it. Ashley, do you find that actually helps the cause of, getting lean for bodybuilders, or do you think that actually hurts them by doing that?
If you're asking the dietitian and me, I would
Yes.
say it may hurt you.
Why?
Because chewing and things like that is part of your meal experience, and that kind of helps, it helps introduce the digestive or juices in your stomach and things like that. So when you're just drinking things, you may not get that level of satiation or satisfaction in a meal. And we already don't eat a whole lot and we're hungry all the time anyway. So blending and drinking something may not help with us, feeling satisfied until our next meal.
What do you think, Chelsea?
I would never do that.
And don't tell me smoking a little bit of weed would change that, because that'll make it go down easier, right?
It probably would. But honestly, I like to sit down and enjoy my meal and like have an experience. If I'm gonna drink that crap, like that is not gonna, I'm not gonna enjoy that. I like to make an experience of my meal. If I'm eating 7 times a day, I'm gonna enjoy every single meal.
Okay, do you guys use regular utensils, or do you use like a big giant utensil to get the whole load, or do you use like a baby fork or spoon to enjoy it longer? Is there a method to this? Because when I diet, I actually use a little baby spoon because I want to enjoy it more. And I know that's stupid, but
I've tried the small spoon thing.
Did it work?
Yeah, it did. It did. Usually I just use regular utensils, but I have tried using a smaller spoon.
Chelsea?
So I like to eat out of a big trough, especially
Me
like
too.
as I'm getting closer to the show, because I start eating more and more shredded lettuce. And of course I use like a big spoon because I want to be able to get every single rice kernel.
Yes.
I'm not going to leave a single piece of rice left.
Yes. So I'm addicted to shredded lettuce myself, and what I'll do is I'll just cram it in there because it's extra stuff for me to eat and enjoy.
Yes, volume. It's volume.
Oh my God.
Tricking the mind.
All right, so let me go into something, and I'm just gonna. Everybody's done some extreme stuff in the last minute, getting ready for a show. So maybe I'm the weird one, but when I first started bodybuilding, my first bodybuilding show, and people are gonna probably judge me, look at me different. I don't give a crap, but so my coach at the time made me measure my urine, the amount of pee that I peed out, and I had to drink water. That same amount of water, whatever I peed out. Now, Does that sound like a great tactic to you guys, or is that just kind of like bizarro land?
I mean, if you were taking like a diuretic,
No,
maybe like
no
I could
diuretic.
understand, but like
Asparagus and dandelion root. That's it.
weird. Yeah, no, that's weird.
Asha,
Yeah.
what do you think?
I'd have to agree. I'm trying to think about why, I mean, to maintain your fluid balance, but there's a lot of other things that go into that. So,
Yeah, the day before my
No, but-
show, she made me pee in a little, measuring cup, and then I had to drink the amount of water. Breaking news, we have something from Nico coming in.
Ooh,
For ASHA, does intermittent fasting increase growth hormones?
ooh, that's a good question. I get asked a lot about intermittent fasting, and I don't believe, and I think the consensus in the scientific world is there's nothing really special about intermittent fasting.
Thank you.
The time off that we have in between meals normally, and like when we sleep, if you equal it, it's kind of the same. When you look at those types of changes that people try to tout that intermittent fasting
Can you
has.
explain to people what that is for those that don't know?
What
Intermittent
is?
fasting? Intermittent
Oh.
fasting.
So intermittent fasting is a way of eating or a pattern of eating and not eating. And there's different patterns that you can follow. It can go anywhere from one day on to one day off, 12 hours of eating, or an eating window, I should say, 12 hours off. The most common one people use now is a 8-hour window of eating and a 16-hour window of not eating. So
Okay.
people usually start at lunchtime, they'll have lunch, maybe a snack, and then dinner, and then they're not eating until lunch again the next day.
Mhm. What do you think of that, Chelsea?
I mean, I've done it not intentionally for a long time. Like when was like a bad girl and I was partying all the time.
Bad girl.
But I've never been like a huge fan of it. Like I said, I like to eat and I love to eat all my meals throughout the day.
What about macros?
I actually
So-
did my very first prep doing If It Fits Your Macros back in like 2014. And I think did it get me lean? No. Did it help me lose weight? Absolutely. And it did help me like learn more about food and, not having to just stick to a specific type of, protein or whatever. It helps me learn balance.
Asha, what do you think of macros?
I agree with Chelsea. It's on the higher levels of bodybuilding. I don't think that's the way to go. You can lose weight by manipulating your macros because ultimately it's calories. So if you lower them enough, you're going to lose weight. But there's certain foods that you need to eat, certain types of foods that you need to eat, and just fitting macros, a broad range of foods that are carbohydrates or fats or proteins. It's not really going to serve you if you're trying to get to the Olympia stage.
Mm-hmm.
I think in like an off season, it could be appropriate. But what whole foods to eat and what foods you really shouldn't switch things out with.
So if I eat a whole bag of Oreos and that's part of my macros, that doesn't really help my cause, does it?
No,
No.
because I mean, if you ate a whole bag of Oreos, that's a lot of calories. So
Well, true, but some of these people think they can eat a whole bunch of junk food, and as long as it's in that calorie count, that it's fine.
yeah,
I don't agree with that, but that's...
no, because you're missing out on all those macronutrients and stuff that are really important.
Hey, what do you guys think of this Kendall Jenner girl that looks like that's a bodybuilder that makes $10,000 a month? What's your thoughts on
Yeah,
that?
she's beautiful.
I'm in the wrong business.
Seriously.
What do you think, Asha?
Who is it?
So there's this girl, she looks like Kendall Jenner, but she's got
Uh-huh.
muscles. And she
She's
makes
like all over everything right now.
yeah, she makes $10,000 a month.
That's
OnlyFans,
crazy.
is that what it's on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
More
I
power
was
to
doing
her.
I was doing that at one point, but it ended quickly. It went-
OnlyFans?
yeah.
Well, I mean, listen, you got to do what you got to do. And lots of girls, listen, we talked about it earlier, Natalia Calejo has an OnlyFans. There's a lot of people who have OnlyFans. People get the wrong impression from OnlyFans. They think it's just, explicit stuff, and it's not really. I mean, am I wrong on that? I don't really know too much on it, but, whatever helps the cause, helping you make some money, great. I mean, we both know bodybuilding is a very expensive. Is it a hobby? Do you guys consider it a hobby or a sport?
I consider it a
sport.
sport.
Mhm.
Not a hobby. I like that. Yeah. Very cool.
OnlyFans is definitely something I'm thankful for. It's the main reason why I'm able to even focus on bodybuilding. So I'm very thankful
How do you
for it.
have a successful OnlyFans?
I started it back in 2019, kind of when it first took off. So I think I got in it very early. And so I've always been like, I've always marketed on Instagram. A lot of girls don't want to do that because of their family
right.
and stuff. But honestly, like, I don't care. So I think because I've been in it for so long, it's been a very steady income for me. Like, yeah, I've had great months where I'm like, holy crap. But, it's not always going to stay at 10,000 forever.
Now, both of you always have good content. You always take lots of photos and stuff. How important is it for a female bodybuilder or an athlete in general to keep up with the content, the photos? Like both of you have really great photo shoots you've taken. At ASHA, one of my favorites of you is, well, I have a few, but one of them that stands out is where you're in the water and the abs, your abs. It's such a beautiful shot. But what's the advice you would give to an athlete about building their portfolio and content? I mean, you have to be consistent with it, right? Especially when you're in shape.
Yeah.
I'm taking advantage of it, I'm assuming.
Mhm.
ASHA?
Yeah, I think it's really nowadays it's something it's almost like a scouting report. People like yourself, other online journalists, they look at our social media and see, who's this coming into the show or how do they look? And as an athlete, I guess it's ultimately up to you if you want to put that out there or not. But I think it kind of helps you and also your fan base if that's also something that's important to you. I've had times where I don't post a lot. Sometimes I do post more. But something that's important to me personally is getting those photo shoots or pictures, because I know there's one day where I'm going to be old and wrinkly and I could be like, damn, I looked good. Look at those. I'll be flipping through my phone when I'm like 80 years old. I was like, I remember those days.
Sure.
So you'll always have that, pictures of you at the gym or candids, not just photo shoot stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Chelsea, you take a lot of photos too. So
Yeah, we are in an era where social media is very, like, it runs everything. It's a way for us to make our income, and with that comes putting out good content. I've invested a lot of money in photo shoots. I've bought my own camera with a very nice lens. Like, it's something that I do take very seriously because it's my income. And like Asha said, like, I want to be able to look back and be like, damn, like, I can't believe that was me.
one of my favorites of you is where you have all the paint all over your body. You got a lot of good pictures too, but was that a lot of work to take off? What was that, wax or paint?
It was paint and it was horrible to get off. And it was freezing because it was like November. So I had to go outside and they sprayed me with the hose. And I'm just naked out there shivering to match trying to scrub the paint off.
How long did it take to put that paint on?
Oh, we actually did it throughout the photo shoot. So I started out naked, like sitting, and then they dripped the paint on me there. And then I would move a different position. They would add more color. And then we stood up and then we added different color. And then I started to smear it. So then it became like a pink color. It was really cool. One of my most favorite photo shoots.
Yeah, that's a great photo shoot. ASHA, for women's bodybuilding this year, is there anyone who stands out to you that you think is going to make an impact on the sport?
Ooh. it's hard to know, how people are going to come in or change over the season.
Mhm.
I was kind of surprised with Natalia this year,
Yeah, yeah.
coming into the New York Pro.
Mhm.
I mean, she's somebody that you see her all throughout the year. She always looks great. But, when I saw her stage pictures, I was like, whoa. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
she can really bring it to the stage. So, um, hopefully, Emily comes across or crosses over maybe
I would love that.
mid-season,
Mhm.
because I think she would do pretty well
Mhm.
in a show this season.
Mhm.
Who else? I don't know. I mean,
Do you think it's somebody like an Angela Yo, who nobody really expected to come out of the top like that, being a runner-up, do you think that she will hold her runner-up spot, or do you think that, somebody's going to knock her out?
I couldn't see anybody knocking her out other than maybe Sherry.
Sherry is, yeah, Sherry has great conditioning, but I don't think it could go either way because both of them are right there with the conditioning
Mhm.
and the shape, for sure. Actually, Sherry improved a lot this year versus last year because I got to see her in Vancouver. Chelsea, what are your thoughts? Who do you
Sherry,
think is somebody who is that can be something this year? Somebody to
me and
watch.
Sherry.
Sherry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And me. I'm
And you.
coming. I
Oh,
swear.
of course you're. Are you doing? Which show are you doing? Can you say that? Or you
Hopefully Spain. And then
Spain.
we'll find out about Rising Phoenix here soon.
Okay. I'm no longer doing Spain now, thanks to Chelsea saying that she's going to be doing Spain.
Were you going to?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
Well, you should.
I
So
don't
we can.
come nowhere near you though. Nowhere near.
I would love to like qualify this year, but it's not necessarily like if I don't, I'm not gonna be upset about
Do
it.
you miss the point system?
It would be great, but it's whatever. Honestly, if I was to only do one show or two shows, like it depends on, you still can make it, you still might not make it.
Well, let me just throw this out there to you. So someone like yourself who, like ASHA as well, who have won shows and do very well, and plus have a very pretty physique. Listen, I mean, you can go into like a Chicago or a Tampa, Atlanta, and kick ass.
Mhm.
I know you've heard me say this before a few times. You're like I hate comparing you to her, but it's just the same. It's very similar structures. You probably know where I'm going with this, but you're like the Heather Armbrust 3.0. Really, I mean, you both have that similar structure, and Heather was a runner-up for the Olympia. I want to say a few times. Again, you have that look. I mean, you can go into any show and you're in tip-top shape. Same with you, Asha, and kick ass.
Yeah.
I mean, these girls, both of you are very fierce in competition.
Thank you. This year, I just needed some more time off. Like, would I love to defend my Tampa Pro Champ title? Absolutely. But I needed time after the Olympia, after doing 5 shows last
Sure.
year. I thought I was gonna actually take the whole year off, but after talking to Margie, she was like, "No, like you need to get up there."
You don't need to be taking a year off because, listen, first of all, number one, you're young.
Yeah.
People like you. You don't have. Listen, you got a great physique. You're fresh. You might as well go. Obviously, listen to your health. That's number one. But I highly recommend not to take the year off. Margie's absolutely right, 100%. No.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, okay, I'll look at something in like August, September, late August, September. But the only thing in September is Spain and then Rising Phoenix, and that's all we get as far as trying to qualify. So
here's an interesting question for you, Asha, because you stay
Yeah.
lean. I mean, you stay lean year round. So do you like to be that person or that bodybuilder that likes to look like you're 4, 5, or 4 weeks out? Or do you like to be like more like a 8 weeks out? You know what I mean? Like you're close where you don't have to really do a lot of work and just boom, jump in. Where do you like to see yourself in the off season? Because you don't really put on a lot. I mean, you put on the mass, but you stay lean.
Yeah. I have to work at that. So I love being lean. I mean,
Yeah,
I love being shape conditioning. So I would probably lean towards being maybe like 4 or 5 weeks out from a show. but health comes into the picture
Of
too.
course,
It's
yeah.
staying that lean.
Right.
The longer you do it, the harder it is.
What do you think's a healthy look for a woman bodybuilder, like in the off season? Like, do you think, okay, so some women put on, and I'm guilty because I've done it, put on like 30 pounds, 40 pounds in the off season. Some put on maybe 10 pounds. Maybe they're just, a little bit off. Where do you think's a happy medium?
I think probably like 10 or 15 pounds is good, because once you go up, at least personally, once you go higher than that, it becomes really hard to take it off.
Right. Especially when you get older like myself.
Yeah.
Is that a dog I just heard?
Yes, and I'm gonna close them out because they won't
Is
stop
this the
barking.
bulldog or which one is this?
It's my mastiffs. It's
Oh,
all of
boy,
them.
they're
They love barking at stuff.
How many do you have? 3 kids?
3, yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. She's a big fur baby. She got the fur mama. Chelsea, don't you have any pets too? You have a pet, don't you?
Yeah, I have 2 Frenchies.
Yeah, they're Frenchies.
One is about to be 3 and the other is like 8 months.
Do you
I
get
had to put them out because they breathe so loud. I can hear Scooby snoring outside the door.
Scooby? What's the other name?
And Tito.
Tito and Scooby. Aw, what are your names of yours, Asha?
Mine are Stella, Agnes, and Maggie. We like to pick old lady names.
Aw, Scooby. How cute, though. I like those. So, ladies, I already asked well, I got to ask Asha this. So I asked Chelsea this already. I'm going to ask you.
Mhm.
Who do you have for the Mr. Olympia pick and Miss Olympia this year?
Oh my gosh.
I know, I'm asking you such a hard question.
I'm gonna go with the easy one, Andrea, for Miss Olympia. I think she's gonna be tough to beat, period. For Mr. Olympia, that's a tough one. A lot of those guys look pretty good.
They did, yeah, they do.
I don't know who I would pick for Mr. Olympia. I really don't.
Oh man, I want to go back at these and kind of like see if we're going to change, when I bring you back on and stuff. All right, so let me ask you this for the amateur athletes out there. What does it take to go pro, in your opinion, both your opinion? Besides money, what does it take? Chelsea.
Well, it takes getting that like conditioning and getting that look.
Do
Like
you think it's genetics?
It's partially genetics for sure. It does play a big role, I think. But you can go pro with not the best genetics if you work hard as hell and you do have like a decent look. There's a lot of pros, who shouldn't be pros.
Right.
So, but it's just a matter of like act like a pro even if you aren't.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah.
Asha?
I think it takes a certain level of craziness.
Yes.
What does that mean? What do you mean by that?
You have to be I think you have to be super obsessed. There's the people that, they'll pick up a weight and eat a chicken breast and then they're lean. And I think that's a very small percentage, but most of us have to work really hard. I mean, if you ask the average person about, or tell them about our schedule and what we have to do, they will think that we're crazy. They can't do that, or it can't be done. So I feel like all of us are in that same level of like crazy or obsessed. And that's what it takes to get to that level.
Silly question, but I'm going to ask it because I'm sure you girls have gotten this. So when you're grocery shopping, you got all your little diet food and everything in your shopping cart and you're on the checkout lane. Do you ever have anybody or people comment on your selection of foods when you're in line?
Mhm.
Chelsea,
All the time.
what do you get? What's the comments you get?
It's usually like the cashier and they're like,
Right.
oh, so this is what I should be eating to look like you type thing.
Asha, what do you get?
Yeah, those are usually the type of comments. They'll see the physique or the body and they're like, what do I need to eat to look like that? Or like Chelsea said, this is what I need to be eating.
Well, I've gotten the opposite. I've had people say to me, well, I can't eat that. There's no way. I like my donuts too much. And of course, they're the cashier. So I'm like, just scan my shit. Just move on. Sorry. I don't want to
You know what I've had people say that to me too. And you know what I tell them? Well, then stay fat.
Wow, do you really?
I've said it before.
You're going
Because
to hell.
it depends on how they come to me though. You know,
Right.
if they're like, it depends, you know, if they come to me and like, oh wow, like I don't think I could ever do that. Like, I love my donuts. I'm like, well, you never know, you know, you gotta. But sometimes if people come to me in a certain way, I'll be like, stay fat.
All right, I'm going to leave it with this, and I'm going to let you girls do your thing, but I got to ask one more question. Starting with you, Asha. What's the number one fan request you get? Weirdo. It doesn't matter, whatever.
Oh, let's see. The
Share a
number one
weird
fan-
request or something that you like. I can't believe this guy just asked me this.
There's not much that surprises me anymore with what fans ask. I'm like, oh, okay, you're into that. But sweaty body part pictures or things like that, you know, that's
All
your
right.
thing. Hey.
Whatever works for them. Chelsea, what do you got?
I get a lot of messages of people who want me to peg them.
Oh, boy.
No, thank you, but I'm glad you would like me to do it.
Oh, my
That,
God. Well, that's pretty intense, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, let me see what kind of requests. I mean, the only thing that sticks in my head that I've ever gotten, of course, I think we've all talked about this before, is the one gentleman who reached out to a bunch of female bodybuilders and was like, okay, I want you to grab a real life puppy. This is no joke. Send it to a whole bunch of women. I want you to get a real life puppy and crush it.
Oh my God.
Yes. Wanted it
I
to
have
be
one like that.
filmed. Wanted to hear the cries, all this stuff. And I'm just like, you sick beep, you know.
Oh my God.
But
No.
it just goes to show there's some people out there that are not really, they don't understand. They're just in a whole nother world. But, you know, listen, I'm going to be honest. If it wasn't for some of these fans, I don't know what we do with female
Exactly.
bodybuilding and come to the shows. We had a great turnout actually at the past New York Pro, you know, so I'm grateful for them. And I'm sure, you know, again, I don't know what we do without them because they buy the tickets and the pay-per-views and all this kind of stuff. But ladies, if there's anything you want to say or a goodbye to our universe out there, I'll let you to it. Asha? How do we get a hold of you, by the way?
You can, I'm usually on Instagram. You can try to message me. I try to check my messages at least once a day or
You're
so.
pretty good at it.
Yeah, I try. But yeah, I'm on there. Haven't been on there as much since I'm not competing. What's always my goal to kind of keep people updated with what I'm doing, whether it's in the gym or not. But thanks for following. Thank you, Isabel, for, you know, having me on.
Thank you for
reach
being
out
on.
if you want to.
Chelsea?
You guys can reach me on Instagram. Also, I've been putting in a lot of work over the last few months on my YouTube, and I have lots of things coming with that. I do a lot of like blog style type videos because I just want to share like what it's like being a female bodybuilder. So especially this upcoming season as I get ready for the show, I'm going to be following that. So if you guys are interested in following my YouTube channel, it's Chelsea Dion. And I just want to say thank you for everybody who supports female bodybuilding. You know, there are very little of us, but we appreciate like every, you know, person who loves female muscle. And I just can't wait to see more females coming up to our category, hopefully bringing more popularity to the class and giving us the attention we deserve.
I think we're getting that attention now. The numbers are speaking. You know, I want to see more. There's never enough.
I want more shows next year. So I
me
hope.
too.
with
Asha,
more-
I want to throw some at you.
Yes.
I would love to see you do a golf competition.
That would be fun.
I think it would be great. Listen, I think you're a great golfer. I think that you can do pretty good.
Yeah, I'm a decent golfer. My long game is pretty good. The short game needs a little work, but I think it would be fun. I think Brad and I actually tried to pitch Jake on like a Wings of Strength tournament
That'd be fun.
or a Wings of Strength golf outing. So maybe that will be something we can do in the future.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. And they all got to wear bikinis.
Including the men who golf.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, we don't want Jake in a bikini, though. We don't want to see that. Anyway, ladies, thank you so much for being on the Fit Rockstar Show. It's been a pleasure. I
Thank
will
you.
be seeing you guys soon.
Thank
Take
you as
care.
always.
Thank you. Ciao.